If I present my face like this, some little fiends opening the door might recognize me. I'll change into a little water snake to get through, but wait. If the ghost of Master knew that I'd changed into a snake, he would blame me because a serpentine creature would ill become a priest. Why not a little crab then? That's no good either, for Master'll blame me for being a busybody priest. Finally, he changed into a water rat and, with a whoosh, darted across the brook. Through the drainage sewer he crawled into the courtyard and looked around. At the spot facing the sun were several little fiends hanging up, piece by piece, slabs of human flesh to be dried. "Oh my dear children," said Pilgrim to himself. "That has to be Master's flesh. They couldn't finish all of him, and so they want to cure some strips for inclement weather. I would like to reveal my true form, rush up there, and slaughter them all with one stroke of my rod, but that'll only show that I have courage but little wisdom. I'll change again and go inside to find the old fiend to see what's happening." He leapt out of the sewer and with one shake of his body changed into a tiny, winged ant. Truly, his name's Dark Horse, a small and feeble thing. But long cultivation has formed his wings. In idle moments by a bridge he'd flit, or roam beneath a bed to test his wit. He seals his hole, knowing when rain would come. Weighed down by dust he would ashes become. So airy and agile he can quickly soar. A few times, unknown, past the firewood door. Stretching his wings, without a shadow or sound, he flew directly into the center hall, where he found the old fiend sitting dejectedly. From behind him a small monster leapt out to say, "Great King, 10,000 delights attend you." "Where do these delights come from?" asked the old monster. The little monster said, "Just now I was doing a bit of intelligence work by the brook at our rear entrance, and I heard someone wailing. When I climbed up the peak to take a further look, I found that it was Ju 8 Rules, Pilgrim's son, and Sha Monk, who were mourning before a grave. They must have believed that human head was the Tang monks and buried it. Now they are weeping beside the grave they dug." When Pilgrim heard this, he was secretly pleased, saying to himself, "If he could say this, my master must still be hidden here somewhere. He hasn't been devoured. Let me go search further to find out indeed whether Master is dead or alive before I discuss the matter with these monsters." Dear great sage. Soaring high in the center hall, he looked this way and that and discovered to one side a little door, which was tightly shut. Crawling through a crack in the door, he found a large garden inside, from the center of which faint sounds of grief could be heard. When he flew deep into the garden, he came upon a clump of tall trees, beneath which two persons were tied. One of them was none other than the Tang monk. Pilgrim was so excited by the sight that he could not refrain from changing back into his original form and approaching to say, "Master." Recognizing him, the elder said as his tears fell, "Wukong, so you've come. Save me quickly. Wukong. Wukong." "Stop calling my name, Master," said Pilgrim. "There are still people up front, and I fear that they may get wind of this. As long as you're still alive, I can save you. That fiend told us that you had been devoured, using a false human head to deceive us. We have already fought bitterly with him. Please relax, Master. Just bear with me a bit longer. When I've knocked down that monster spirit, I'll be able to come back here to free you." Reciting a spell, the great sage at once changed back into an ant to return to the center hall and alight on the main beam. A crowd of those little monsters who had not lost their lives were milling about noisily. From their midst, one little monster suddenly dashed out to say, "Great King, when they see that the door is barricaded and that they cannot break it open, they must also give up all hopes of recovering the Tang monk. After all, the false human head has been turned into a grave. They'll mourn for a day today and for another tomorrow. By the day after tomorrow, they should have fulfilled the obligation of 3-day mourning and they will leave. When we have made sure that they have scattered, we can then bring out the Tang monk and have him finely diced. Pan-fry him with some star anise and Sichuan pepper, and we can enjoy a nice fragrant piece to lengthen our lives." Stop talking like that, said another little monster, clapping his hands. He'll taste much better if we steam him, but not as economical as plain boiling, said another. At least we can save some firewood that way. He is, after all, a rare thing. Another spoke up. We really should cure him with salt, so that we may enjoy him much longer. When he heard this, perched on the beam, Pilgrim was filled with rage, saying to himself, "What sort of enmity do you have against my master that you should make such elaborate plans to devour him?" Pulling out a bunch of his own hairs and chewing them to pieces, he spat them out lightly and recited in silence a magic spell. The hairs all changed into sleep-inducing insects, which he threw onto the faces of the monsters. As the insects crawled into their noses one by one, the little monsters gradually dropped off until, in no time at all, they had all fallen fast asleep. Only the old monster, however, remained restless as he continued to scratch his head and rub his face with both hands. He was sneezing repeatedly so that he kept pinching his nose. "Could it be that he has found out something?" said Pilgrim. "Let's give him a double-wick lamp." Pulling off another piece of hair, he fashioned another creature like the ones before and threw it onto his face. Now he had two insects, one entering through his left nostril and the other through his right. Struggling up for a moment, the old monster stretched and yawned a couple of times, and then he too fell into a snoring slumber. Delighted, Pilgrim leapt down and changed back into his original form. Taking out his rod from his ear, he waved it once and it attained the thickness of a duck egg. With a loud clang he smashed the side door to pieces and ran into the rear garden, shouting, "Master! Disciple, untie me quickly," said the elder, "for I'm about to be ruined." "Don't hurry, master," Pilgrim said. "Let me slay the monster spirit first before I come rescue you." He turned and dashed back into the center hall. As he was about to strike with upraised rod, he stopped and said, "No good. Let me untie master first before I strike at him." He rushed back into the garden, only to think to himself, "I'll slay him first before the rescue." He went back and forth like this 2 or 3 times before finally dancing his way into the garden. This sight of him gave the elder some delight even in his sorrow. "Monkey," he said, "it must be that you are overjoyed by the sight of my being still alive, and that is why you are dancing in this manner." Pilgrim then walked up to him to untie his ropes. As he led his master away, they heard the person tied to another tree facing them call out, "Venerable Father, please exercise your great mercy and save my life, too." Standing still, the elder said, "Wukong, please untie that person also." "Who is he?" asked Pilgrim. "He's a woodcutter," replied the elder, "who had been captured a day before I was seized. He told me that he has an aged mother, whom he thinks of constantly. He's a most filial person, and we might as well rescue him, too." Pilgrim agreed and untied the man's ropes also. They went out through the rear entrance together and ascended the cliff to cross the swift-flowing brook. "Worthy disciple," said the elder, "I thank you for saving his life and mine. Wu Neng and Wu Jing, where are they?" "The two of them are mourning you," replied Pilgrim. "You may call out to them now." And the elder cried out in a loud voice, "8 rules! 8 rules!" As he had been weeping till he was half dazed, our idiot wiped his snout and eyes and said, "Sha Monk, master must have come home to reveal his soul. Isn't it he who's calling us from somewhere?" Rushing forward, Pilgrim shouted, "Coolly! Who's revealing his soul? Isn't this master who has returned?" When Sha Monk lifted his head and saw them, he fell to his knees and said, "Master, how you must have suffered! How did elder brother manage to rescue you?" Whereupon Pilgrim gave a thorough account of what had taken place. When he heard this, 8 rules grew so infuriated that he raised his rake, clenched his teeth, and hacked away the grave mound. Digging out the head, he pounded it to pieces. "Why did you beat it up?" asked the Tang monk. "Oh master," said 8 Rules. I don't know which family this outcast belongs to, but he has caused me to weep for him for a long time. You should thank him instead for saving my life, said the Tang monk. When you brothers fought your way to their door and demanded my return, the monsters used him as a substitute to ward you off. If it hadn't been for him, I would have been killed. You should have him buried, simply as an expression of our priestly gratitude. When he heard these words of the elder, our idiot indeed packed up the mess of flesh and bones and buried it again by digging another grave. With a chuckle, Pilgrim said, "Master, please sit here for a moment, and let me go and finish them off." He leapt down from the cliff and crossed the brook to return to the cave. Taking into the center hall the ropes that had been used to tie the Tang monk and the woodcutter, he found the old monster still sleeping. After having hog-tied him, Pilgrim used his golden hooped rod to lift the bundle up and carried it on his shoulder to leave by the rear entrance. When 8 Rules caught sight of them from a distance, he said, "Elder brother just loves this lopsided business. Wouldn't it be better if he had found another monster to give him a balanced load?" Pilgrim drew near and dropped down the old monster, and 8 Rules was about to strike with his rake.